The Everything Sequel Podcast is brought to you by the Everything Sequel Podcast.
Everything Sequel contains explicit language. And why the fudge not, you melon farmer?
Hello and welcome to the Everything Sequel Podcast. This is a brand new year and a Hannibal edition. My name is Michael Shantz of the How Dare You Awards. Joining me, the man who's going to enjoy a nice Chianti with me, Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions. Say hi, Tom.
Love your suit. There's a discussion to be had about the camp of Anthony Hopkins acting and whether it helps or hinders these films.
Yeah, it's going to be so bizarre to talk about these movies. You didn't see Silence of the Lambs in the theater, I imagine.
No, and in fact, finish your anecdote, because I'll tell you about my first awareness of Silence of the Lambs, which ironically enough was not the actual movie. So go on.
Well, when I think about these three movies, the first thing I'm struck by, and I'm sure you have some sense of this, is like how all-encompassing the character of Hannibal Lecter was, and how focused everybody was on Anthony Hopkins.
That's because Jonathan Demme put the camera right on his face.
Well,
that's about the distance of the camera from his face and how good a director Jonathan Demme is to fool everyone into thinking Anthony Hopkins is doing a good performance. It's just the camera's close to his face. That's all. Anyway, that's an overstatement, but we'll get there.
I knew you were gonna hate his performance.
No, I don't hate it. I don't hate his performance. I just have I just have questions about whether all his choices are appropriate for the type of movie that Silence of the Lambs is. Because he's going full James Whale Universal monster movie sequel acting. Okay? He's Bride of Frankenstein in this for a moment, from minute one of that he appears on screen, and I just don't know whether that is sustainable within the frame of this otherwise entirely naturalistic movie.
Yeah. So I have to admit, because it was just so embedded in all of culture in 1991. Totally.
I remember that. I remember that.
It was just it was everywhere. Like, you couldn't get away from it. I think people think of that performance as being legitimately revered as like this great performance. It's an Academy Award winning performance.
Yeah, and it's imagine what the response would have been were he not a trained British theatre actor with the reputation that he had. I have similar questions about a lot of Daniel Day-Lewis's performances. Would we be praising what he did in There Will Be Blood if it wasn't Daniel Day-Lewis, or would we be saying what the fuck is this guy doing? That's too showy a performance for this movie? Yeah. And I have similar questions about that, and I don't know if I've necessarily resolved them in my mind, because I do think with a different framing, this performance could be something magnificent.
Yeah, so I guess the thing that struck me, I feel like we're already skipping ahead. Talking about our first movie instead of ranking these fucking movies.
Yeah,
But it was very much a seesaw for me watching it. For our purposes here, that performance in that particular movie.
Well, in both movies for me, it remains a seesaw for me, and probably. The seesaw is kind of tipping upwards and downwards in ways that I didn't expect it to when it comes to Hannibal as well.
Okay.
Like once you kind of let the animal out of the cage, it becomes a totally different performance again, and then so you have to evaluate that on its own merits too.
Yeah.
And there's swings, and there's up and down the swings and roundabouts there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of interesting to watch both these movies back to back and see the kind of, as well, I don't think you could describe it as an arc of a performance, but it's an oscillating performance. It's like alternating current of performance, I would say. And listen, this I'm not as invested in Anthony Hopkins as many people are, but he's done a couple of, I think, truly great performances on film.
Meet Joe Black.
I am, of course, talking about Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
And Meet Joe Black, yeah. No. There you go, there's the two. No, Nixon, I think he's extraordinary in Nixon, which is kind of incredible because physically he looks the least like Nixon that every human has ever looked. And yet he's the perfect person both for that part and for what Oliver Stone wanted to do with that movie, which was a kind of a salvage operation on the reputation of Nixon.
Sure.
And then the other one is The Elephant Man.
Yeah.
Which I think is such a... I would have loved a little more of that understatement here now and again. But, one of my favorite moments...
Do you generally not like big performances?
I think big performances belong in movies that accommodate them.
Yeah, okay.
This is, my understanding of acting both as an actor and as someone who, I don't know, kind of evaluates...
Digests
film. Evaluates acting.
Yeah.
Is that the key is to be on the same page as the work of art or media that you're involved in.
Mm-hmm.
That to me is how you determine the quality of a performance. And one of the things I keep running into whenever I watch Anthony Hopkins, certainly in The Silence of the Lambs, I think Hannibal is a different animal. If I may revert to poetry for a moment.
Yeah.
But certainly in The Silence of the Lambs, what I keep bumping up against is this performance sticks out like a sore thumb in a movie that is where everyone else is extremely understated, including Ted Levine as...
Yeah.
Obviously visually not understated, nor in the way he's filmed, but the performance itself...
The performance itself feels like...
very grounded.
Did they find a serial killer?
Yeah, quite absolutely. I feel like they just put him in that house and then filmed whatever he did. And then
we're going to have you live in here for 3 years without contact with other human beings.
And it was just in his contract. It just his contract. So, we're never going to let you out of this house, by the way. This is where you live now. You may never re-enter society after this.
Yeah.
But all the other performances in the film, and so I'm thinking, the closest you get, I think, in terms of Ham is
Chilton.
Chilton, and even that has a core.
He's grounded though. He's
it's
big,
neurosis.
but
That's neurosis, right?
Yeah.
Neurosis
I think so.
and the vanity is kind
of vanity.
It's a performed vanity, but it's the character performing it, not the actor. Whereas Hopkins is very much the actor performing it, not the character. It's not a character. It's a supernatural being in the middle of an episode of Law and Order. That's the sort of dichotomy we're working with.
That's the thing that I will agree with, but I keep thinking to myself, I guess that's what Jonathan Demme wanted.
Yeah, and one of the things I kept going back and forth on is, obviously others did, but do I like the disparity between a wholly naturalistic performance from Jodie Foster, which absolutely deserves all the acclaim it's got, and I feel like it's got more acclaim over the years as it's kind of come out from the shadow of Hopkins.
I think it's one of the most remarkable performances in modern film, and watching it for our purposes, it only grew in my estimation because on that seesaw of Anthony Hopkins, I kept watching Jodie Foster just anchor scenes
completely
in a way that I found so admirable.
Yeah.
That I wanted to give her anything and everything, all due credit and all the awards that she did get and should have gotten and
she's
deserved.
She's just done a film completely in French.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's just phenomenal.
I'm looking forward to that movie.
I mean, she spoke French all her life, so I mean, it's not like she learned French as Will Ferrell did for Casamigos de Padre. Just kind of auto Spanish without any.
Joey's Italian for Friends.
Yeah, she's a remarkable actor. But anyway, I kept going back and forth about. I guess, like you, I thought. I guess the disparity between these two styles of performances is the point of these scenes, but well, we'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there. But the other problem is that it's not like Anthony Hopkins is the only person to have ever played Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, right.
Nor is he the only person who has succeeded in his interpretation of the role. Maybe not, with the film
fanfare,
with the film going public, or in the same way.
Yeah,
but at least to me, to the same or greater level of quality.
Yeah.
So that's another kind of. That's another.
I don't.
If he was the only person who ever played Hannibal Lecter, you'd have to go. Well, that's
right.
That's the character, right? He created the character. That's what the character is.
But you're right. There are two performances that I think I prefer more.
Totally, 100%. Yeah, he's third on my list of Hannibal Lecters out of 4.
Yeah,
that's not a good. That's speaking of ranking. That's not not a favorable ranking to begin with. But anyway,
But I having said all of that, I still don't want. I don't think I'm going to be as unkind as you.
And I don't think I'm going to be as unkind as I thought I'd be.
Okay, all right,
but
good.
I think what the audience what the listeners have to be prepared for, is that I might not be praised.
It's not going to be a revere fest.
It's not going to be a revere fest, and it's also maybe I'm going to say nicer things about a performance that is less liked. Out of the two performances that we're going to cover of his Hannibals.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we'll get there, but I again, just to kind of bring it back to my reverence for Anthony Hopkins. In recently watching The Elephant Man, probably one of my favorite moments of acting from any film, when he plays John Merrick, the Elephant Man's doctor. And there's a scene kind of about 2/3 of the way through the movie where John is kidnapped by his previous owner with the help of the night watchman, played by Michael Elphick. And Hopkins nails this understated Victorian gentleman for the whole movie. Mm-hmm. And then when he's angry and he wants to hurt Michael Elphick, he reaches back into his Welshness. His Welsh thuggery. Yeah. And there's this amazing moment where he comes into I think it's like a boiler room, and he starts kind of picking up blunt objects and tapping them on surfaces, and he in the most Welsh way possible, he sort of turns to Michael Elphick and says, "Where's Mr. Merrick? Huh? Where's John?" And it's such a beautiful use of regional thuggery in the middle of this very English performance. He brings out this kind of Welsh working class vigor and violence, and so I respect, I totally respect him as an actor, and like you say, everyone was so on board for this, both proactively
on set and
proactively and certainly retroactively. So us poking holes in it now is a little bit disingenuous because you know we're sort of finding issues where no one's asking us to do a no one's asking us to do a review of this, you know.
No, yeah, right.
This issue has been settled already.
Yeah.
And we're relitigating. But in the relitigation, you start to kind of ask questions about, is this a tonally appropriate performance for this film? At least I do.
I don't know. You know, well, actually, I'll just save all of it.
Yeah.
We have a whole film to talk
Yes,
about it.
we do.
So let's move on.
It's a big discussion, though. I mean,
yeah.
You've already alluded to the place in cinema that The Silence of the Lambs has.
Yeah.
So it's probably one of the bigger films we'll ever talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, it's secure.
Mm-hmm.
Where it stands.
Well, no, I won't say deservedly so yet.
All
but
right.
Let's get there.
All right. So we got a rank we have to declare.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Well, because we're already kind of talking about films' reputations.
Yes.
And with this, and we've talked,
which might not
plenty.
be unconnected to their ranking. I just want to say that ahead of time.
Well, we're talking about reputations, but we also have that idea that we always talk about, which is the law of diminishing returns.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 3 movies that culturally diminish as they go, exactly in the way that sequels do.
Yeah.
And then the question for me is that how they will stand for us?
It's interesting that you say that, you know, this series is kind of following a kind of known sequel logic, because I think of this as an extremely unconventional series.
Sure.
You know, the sequel is the most famous film. The cast, crew, and characters vary enormously between pictures.
Yeah.
And even our point of focus, Hannibal Lecter, is not necessarily the point of focus in all of the movies.
Yeah, certainly not this first movie.
Not this first movie, and for quite a bit of the second movie, even though it's named after him.
That movie's weird, but
It is a strange,
we'll
one of the
talk about
strangest movies
Yeah.
Hollywood has ever produced. However, you know, in approaching ranking, I was like, I wish they were all this easy. Because it's like, you got 3 movies, there's a clear top, there's a clear middle, and a clear bottom. I mean, to borrow an image from the series, it's a no-brainer.
I agree. I hope we're talking about the same order.
I suspect we are. I'm getting the sense that your middle is more begrudging than my middle.
Yes and no, but we'll get to it.
Well, yeah, we'll get to it. I think maybe we have the same struggle over one, if you can call it a struggle, over one movie.
Uh-huh.
Because I suspect, given how much I know about how you love bullshit nonsense in movies,
Yeah.
that there's one of
So
these. There's one of these movies where you're gonna begrudgingly enjoy some of the bullshit nonsense while recognizing it is bullshit nonsense, and why are we wasting our time on it?
Yeah. I actually met one of these movies on a level that I didn't expect to meet it on.
Me too.
And that culturally I don't think it was ever met on. Because it was supposed to be something else. And it's not that, but it's this other thing. And when you meet it on the terms of the other thing,
yeah,
it's a far more enjoyable watch.
Well, you know, if we're talking about the same movie, it's helmed by a couple of the biggest hit or miss bandits in American cinema.
Well, I think you have previously said he's made what, like 5 good movies?
I don't even think I was that generous.
No, I remember. I
5?
think you said 5.
5.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think of 3 right now.
I actually kept looking over his filmography
Okay.
because of that comment, and I was okay. So what are the
5.
movies
Yeah.
But
I think I just wanted to round it up out of respect.
Yeah.
But maybe I was taking into account what his brother had also achieved.
See, his brother is also very polarizing for me.
Well, there are moments in the movie that we're obviously talking about where where I thought, did he just let Tony film this scene? Absolutely.
I was like, he was inspired by his brother for this one movie and one movie only, I think. It's bizarre.
It is very strange that, you know, now is not the time for slow motion.
Right. Why did you do that? You got that wrong. That was
yeah.
And it's just, well,
yeah.
Again, we'll save it.
We'll save it. But
so you've already said this was the easiest ranking you've ever had.
It was. I mean,
and I felt exactly the same way.
But it's strange because this series is unlike any other we've done, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
And so I expected that to be an issue for ranking and declaration, but it actually wasn't. It presented
it
itself,
simplified things somehow.
It presented itself in a fashion where the ranking and declaration was self-evident, which I wasn't expecting, because this is not normally how series roll.
Yeah, exactly.
There's usually far more connective tissue between the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is, you know, that's also the USP of this series, is that we reimagine every single time. The point is, it's like, when is it a reimagination too far? Which is the problem we always run into, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's like, I've been thinking about this, and, you know, late in towards the end of this month, I'm seeing 2 movies in the same week. One at the beginning of the week, one at the end of the week. Both of which are kind of examples of big franchise movies where they went out on a limb and tried to go against the grain of what they've been doing, and ended up producing arguably the best movies of the series. Like On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home. And I'm like, so what is... And I was thinking, what is that alchemy where you do everything to go against the grain of what you've done, and yet you come out with a sort of purer version of the formula than any of the last 2 or 3 movies in the series achieved?
I want to push back a little bit, but only because you have claimed that yourself and at least one other person think of On Your Majesty's Secret Service in this way.
Yeah.
Is that enough?
No.
To make this bold claim. No, there's
a fan. Well, I'm not. You know, regardless of the.
I'm just giving you shit to giving you shit.
But... Regardless of the best, it's sort of it. You know, you watch On Her Majesty's Secret Service and you still go, that's a Bond film.
Yeah, sure.
And that you look at the changes they made and the
Star Trek 4, agree completely.
But that was a conscious attempt to do everything different from what they'd done with the previous 2 movies.
Yeah.
And they ended up with something that was more Star Trek than Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, whatever you think about On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I mean, it's as close as you'll get to Ian Fleming's idea of James Bond on screen. And so, you know, how are they able to do that? And yet, you know, you get these 3 kind of, for our purposes, 3, bearing in mind there's an original and a reboot here, which are...
Yeah, right.
Which
we'll get to.
You know, are kind of, I guess, I don't know. I mean, they're part of the same mishmash, I suppose.
Yeah.
But how do you end with these 3 completely misfitting movies?
Well, I think what's interesting to me, and because we do what we do, because we've said in the past, like, we would like to reward these movies when a series reinvents and does something completely different and on its own terms.
And you can't fault these movies for that.
No, yeah, exactly.
You can,
but,
absolutely. They are beyond reproach for that, and
yes.
That alone.
but I guess but that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Because that's a joke you're making. Where
I don't think it's a joke, but carry on.
Well, no, but what I mean is, you're saying that in the sense of, that's the only thing that you could say for maybe two of these movies.
Maybe one of these movies.
As a positive. I mean, that's simplifying it a bit too much, but...
No, I don't... I think it is.
But anyway,
what
my overall point is that in the past, I think we have rewarded movies that make grand changes in the way that this series does, but because they're more successful when they do it. And here, is this the least successful grand reimagining of where the series can go that we've seen?
Yeah.
Which is to say nothing about good, bad.
No.
Because they could still be good, but...
And I think it runs the gamut. And I guess part of the issue is, what's the difference? Is it trying to make a different type of film within the same mold, or are you actually kind of trying to change the genre, the essence?
Yeah.
Of what the movie is. I mean, going from continuation sequel to prequel.
Yeah.
Has, it throws up a whole different bunch of challenges.
Well, that's to say nothing of the fact
that the series at this stage in its lifespan doesn't need.
Yeah, right.
But to quote Grandpa Simpson, it was the style at the time. Hannibal Rising is the onion belt of this series.
Absolutely. Well, that's to say nothing of the fact that all three of these films are based on books written by one man.
Yeah, and these
were his ideas.
No, that's the thing that gets me about Hannibal Rising, and we'll talk about it in more detail when we discuss the episode. But if you didn't know that this was the author of the books that the series were based on, with more control than he's ever had over the series,
right,
you would assume this was like an unlicensed kind of fan project.
I had to remind myself that he had written a book.
Yeah, completely.
And that I had read that book. That it wasn't based on just an original screenplay.
Is it retconning if it's the original author who is doing the retconning?
Right.
You know? What is the sound of one hand clapping? Of course, we all know it's this. But
Lisa, you're not listening.
But that's kind of, it's just amazing, and it always amazes me how you can be an author who writes a character and you obviously have no idea of what their backstory is until you decide to write a book that decides that. And decides it in a way that is just wrong for everything that we've seen previously related to this character.
Yeah.
There's no way any of this wouldn't have come up by now in these stories if any of this was pre-planned.
He's just a wanted criminal for his whole life, using his same name.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there, and I'll talk a little bit more when we rank and declare about what I think that movie should be doing and what it actually did. IP cinema for me is a very low bar, but I don't know if that movie even meets that bar. That is already artificially lowered for being an IP cinema movie.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't think there's going to be a lot of surprises,
No.
but I have no problem going first and saying that the movie at the top of my list very much is The Silence of the Lambs from 1991.
Oh, you're not going in order? That's what I was planning to do. I was planning to make it chronological. I'm joking, of course. Imagine that. Imagine if you, like, you know, they say you should watch the Star Wars movies.
Not in the. Well, I had a dissonance for a moment because I'm like, this one came out first. What are you talking about?
No,
but
like,
you're
I
talking
mean,
story wise.
Yeah, it's like they say you should start with try and watch Star Wars chronologically.
Yeah.
Imagine doing it for this series. I mean, you wouldn't get past World War II, quite frankly. I don't think.
Right.
And the cannibalism thereof. It's actually the most interesting part of that story is that, you know, it's true that on the Eastern Front there was a lot of cannibalism because people were starving to death.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the movie plays the least attention to that of everything in the movie, and I'm like, that's, I mean, you know, that's real history.
Mm-hmm.
That's real interesting history, and you just kind of sort of gloss over it. Amazing.
Well, I don't know. Is it glossed over if that's
Well,
what is pushing this character forward for his entire revenge?
yeah, but that's it. You know, this kind of behavior is not solely, and I can say this even as an unlicensed psychiatrist. I know for a fact that science has not yet proved that this kind of behavior is solely linked to childhood experience.
Right.
But that's exactly what the movie's telling me.
Mm-hmm.
They're telling me there is no other factor than childhood trauma that made him what he is. Whereas whereas the other movies show us actually enjoying what he does as a lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
I agree.
Where were we?
I had declared The Silence of the Lambs as the best of these three sequels.
Yes.
You were about to make an argument for why Hannibal Rising is the best movie
Well,
of
it's,
these
you know,
sequels.
you got to go in order, right? You've got to. Otherwise, none of what happens in Hannibal Rising makes sense. If you go back to it, you got to start with it.
I am broadcasting on our regular feed. You are broadcasting from the Bizarro feed.
That's right. Yeah, the lines got crossed. And I gotta say, you know, that it would have been much better if it was directed by J.J. Abrams. With an Alex Kurtzman script, mwah, chef's kiss. Literally chef's kiss. He's cooking people.
He's cooking people.
Like a really bad Fox News anchor. Like, you know, he's cooking people. Wake up, sheeple. You're literally sheeple. He's cooking you like sheep. No, well, so my riposte to that is, you won't hear me gushing with the kind of praise that is usually reserved for the film you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But it is undeniable that it is a well-made film with strong performances, strong writing, and more importantly, for the purposes of ranking, outpaces its nearest competitor by some distance.
Yeah.
So, of course, even with the reservations that I have, and continue to have, Silence of the Lambs is also at the top of my list.
All right.
It's too great an achievement, in spite of faults that, one of which I think is the reservations I have, and we'll get into this with good or bad. I think one of them I feel like I can justify, and the other one I feel like is just a kind of a personal annoyance to me.
That's a long list.
Because no one else seems to have the issue that issue that I have. So,
Well, I'll be interested to know what that is.
Yeah.
It's not like this dawned on me just on this watching, because it happens every time I watch the film. But that movie's edited within an inch of its life.
It's a really high level of filmmaking. I think
Yeah.
you'd be hard pushed to watch it and not come away with that impression.
Yeah. All right, good. So I guess the only question is, for these last two Bizarro movies.
Yeah. Do you prefer your Hannibal Rising?
Yeah.
Or just straight up Hannibal?
Or just straight up Hannibal.
It's like, what kind of flour are you going to be using in your bake? Self-raising flour? Or just regular all-purpose flour?
Yeah.
By the way, that is for those of you who are, I don't know, if there's people listening just because they're foodies, I could see that sort of happening. I mean,
sure.
This series dovetails with food porn.
Mm-hmm.
That is a really good baking analogy. The difference between self-raising and all-purpose
You gotta break
flour.
your hand patting you on the back. That's Busta Rhymes patting.
I know. Patting myself on the back with a big dusty handful of flour. Like coming off me in waves.
That guy's got a flower hand on his back. All right, what's next on your list? Which of these two Hannibals do you prefer?
I've always been an all-purpose man. No, so the film that's next on my list, that again I think is your clear middle, because it's a movie that I think is extremely flawed in direction, acting, writing, all the
down the line,
all the elements of filmmaking, you might say. But there are aspects of all of those elements of filmmaking here that I do enjoy
and respond to. We're talking about the same film, yes.
Yeah, and
I suspect we are, but
I strongly suspect we are. And it's a film that I have more affection for than I probably should, and that I almost would say I have a soft spot for. And I do think, legitimately, it is a movie that does improve as it goes on.
Yes.
And I think that is key to it being a mixed bag rather than a complete failure.
Okay.
So with all that in mind, second up on my list is Hannibal.
Yeah, me too.
All-purpose flour Hannibal.
All-purpose flour Hannibal.
It's really interesting because I don't know if we've said it on the podcast before. We've talked before about sometimes there's a collision of people that doesn't seem in a movie that doesn't seem like it would work, that ends up producing something great. Like I think the example that we talked about was The Untouchables, which interestingly is written by the same person.
Yeah, right.
As this movie is, it's like David Mamet's writing, Brian De Palma's direction, and Sean Connery, Robert De Niro, Giorgio Armani, and Ennio Morricone, and the collision.
This new kid, Kevin Costner.
Yeah, the collision of all those things it all bounces off each other really well and leads to a better movie. Here, I feel like the collision of people is actively harmful to this movie.
Yeah,
and that's on screen and off screen as well. I mean, you almost feel like Anthony Hopkins has to take his performance down a notch because Gary Oldman's on screen with him. He's right. Sort of like, whoa! I gotta adjust my because this guy's giving me something I've never seen, the kind of ham I've never seen before.
Yeah,
but there is, and the other thing to kind of that plays into this is you've seen for many years and have been recommending the series Hannibal, the TV series Hannibal to me.
Yeah.
And I only just watched it in the last few months. And so maybe some of my attachment comes from the fact that what works about this movie is also what works in the Hannibal TV series. I mean, the last quarter of this movie is almost kind of like the template for what they do in Hannibal.
Right.
Which is essentially the Thomas Harris Hannibal stories done as a cooking show. At least that was the way it's set out. And so maybe some of that is my attachment to what I liked about the TV series. But I also feel like, if the TV series took anything from this movie, I'd say it took a lot from this movie overall. But I think what it glommed onto that was really, really useful was the sort of, the Hannibal Lecter as a chef and dinner party host.
Mm-hmm.
And that
you get some of that in Red Dragon too. I mean,
you do. Well, they start with that.
But
they start with that in Red Dragon, yeah, and that's and if that had anything to do with the story they were telling, that would be even better.
Yeah, exactly.
But but here, it becomes again, to borrow an image from the series, the meat of the film. I think it's where the film is kind of most. It becomes most successful.
Yeah,
it's kind of the last couple of scenes. We get to something really interesting that somehow the rest of the film is
the whole rest of the movie couldn't manage to hook into. Yeah, I agree.
But it's kind of interesting because I in principle like the idea of following Hannibal on the run, the Hannibal run, if you
that's
will.
the biggest thing about the difference.
You're gonna listen back to that pun and you're gonna be like, that deserved a bigger laugh. The Hannibal run, by the way.
Sorry,
it's okay. But
I was thinking my own thoughts in my brain pan.
But it's like. I think partly it's never as interesting as the end of Silence of the Lambs sets it up to be. Like, actually, the end of Silence of the Lambs is all you need.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the story only gets going when he comes back to America and starts getting re-involved in the life that he left.
Fucking around, yeah. Running amok.
So, it's interesting because, I'm actively looking forward to a movie that's about the caged animal on the loose.
Well, that's what I was going to say, was that...
But I like it when he's sort of closer to being caught,
Yeah, exactly. So that's the thing, is that I think between the two movies, while you're watching Silence of the Lambs, you're like, I want to see this fucking weirdo out in the world.
Yeah.
I want to see him out of that cage. But somehow having him in the cage is more reassuring, and like that's what we really want, and it's hard to get him out in the world and make it truly interesting. And I think Hannibal kind of has a little up and down of success and non-success with that.
Yeah, it's the thing is what the sweet spot is, we put him in a slightly bigger cage.
Yeah, right.
But that's hard to kind of pitch to to movie executives. Like, this is going to be Hannibal. This is going to be Hannibal, but in a slightly bigger cage. It's like, no, I kind of want him, globetrotting.
Out and about.
Yeah, I want him in, Italy and... But again, the idea that this is not what the movie is, so I don't know why I'm saying I like this, because it's totally an invention of my own mind. But I like the idea that he's there hiding in plain sight.
That I did like. I responded to that too on this viewing.
As his disguised as the actor Anthony Hopkins, as opposed to Hannibal Lecter with his actual hairline, but wearing something that Anthony Hopkins would wear to set. But I suppose you have to at very least go through the motions of what's he been up to all this time. It's just, I'd rather that just be like an extended prologue than 3/4 of the movie.
Well, yeah, but it's not. It's
no, that's what I mean. It's an invention of my own mind. This is not the movie we watched, but once I'm just saying that, I guess.
What is it, a half hour, 40 minutes before we even see him?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That movie's oddly paced.
And I mean, we kind of mentioned that in Batman Returns, it's a good 20 minutes before you see Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And we thought that was extreme for a sequel for 45 minutes before any meaningful Hannibal in a movie called Hannibal. It's not even Hannibal Returns, it's Hannibal. Because at least
the title.
At least
the title of the fucking movie.
At least with Batman Returns, you can say Batman Returns ... after we do the Penguin's backstory. Okay,
yeah.
that's what it's that's always what I thought it was, right?
But he does return.
This is like Hannibal ... You won't see Hannibal for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But anyway, so there's obviously lots of different voices here. There's Thomas Harris's idea of what the story is. There's David Mamet's idea of what the story is, which is, shall I say, Mametian. And there's the actors and what they're doing. There's the recasting. There's the continuity casting. That's all banging against each other. You can hear the clunk of the gears. And you've got
it's not a well-oiled machine.
Big character actors, like 3 different big character actors.
Sure. From
Mathis to Henry Hill.
Yeah, right.
Via Gary Oldman. via Lee Harvey Oswald. We'll save it, but I'm just glad that I think this movie was made at the wrong time, except when it comes to makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Because I am not interested in the CGI version of Gary Oldman's face that would have inevitably happened were this movie made like 4 or 5 years later.
4 years ago, right.
His face is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
What he's doing behind it, not so much. But it is just, it's like Looney Tunes Edward G. Robinson.
Cordell!
I'm disfigured, see?
All right, well, there's no beating around the bush. The last movie on our list is Hannibal Rising.
Even in a movie where where each movie is completely disparate from the other, this is still the outlier, and I think that says it all about where it deserves to be in the list.
Yeah,
they've reverted. Yeah, they've reverted to doing a origin story prequel, which was the style at the time. Actually, it's kind of going out of style when they did this. But it's in that 5-10 year pocket where they were making these kind of movies. Man of Steel, Batman Begins, Casino Royale, right? Except they're superheroes. Hannibal's a serial killer, right? So already already a big red flag that maybe this is not the right project to be doing.
And that's the whole shift for the entire series, right? Because we take the criminal, make him the criminal who is a serial killer, by the way, and make him our hero, and try to give him a tragic, you can understand why he's doing it backstory.
And I guess, we've talked about...
Big swing.
I suppose I don't know if we haven't talked about this movie on the free feed, except in relation to Halloween 2, but Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, I should say. There was more than one Halloween 2 out there, surprisingly.
Oh, I'll say.
But it's the same,
There's like 4 of those fuckers.
Sort of like, what does knowing that this guy had a troubled childhood do for what we know about him?
Yeah.
And the answer is absolutely nothing.
It actually regresses the character in a way that I do not like.
Yeah. And it's Hannibal babies.
And it's like Thomas Harris read Memoirs of a Geisha.
Oh, I mean, there's no Eastern...
And like some other...
Yeah, there's no Eastern kind of influence to anything Hannibal has done up to this point.
Ever in his life.
And, he lived with a Japanese woman for a long fucking time.
You know what's funny, though, is when I think of the fighting style that Mads Mikkelsen has, like with Lawrence Fishburne at the end of that Hannibal series, and I'm like, oh, that feels like it's connected to Hannibal Rising.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, they did, and in the beginning of the show, they credit both Hannibal and Hannibal Rising. I think that's what they had the rights to. And I think everything else was a kind of a dance around the rights.
Yeah, right.
We dance, we dance, we dance around the copyright. We dance, we dance, we dance around the copyright.
Thomas Harris presents Thunderball. No.
And we... never say never to eating people again. Yeah, I think that's interesting though, because Hannibal finds a way. We don't get any flashbacks to his childhood there, and yet they make sense of his backstory in a way that this movie, which is just his backstory, can't do.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah, it's just, I mean, like I said, I mean, it's not. It shouldn't even really be considered part of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel part of the series.
No.
I mean, the series in itself is very interesting.
Now, go on.
Well, I'm just talking about the genre of films. The Silence of the Lambs is widely considered a horror movie. I've never really thought of it as pure horror.
No, it's
a procedural.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in terms of influence, I think it influenced both hugely. The way that procedurals were done and the way that horror movies were done.
True.
So, I guess the proof is in the pudding.
Okay, fine.
But in terms of what they were setting out to do, I think more a kind of more a sort of investigative thriller.
Yeah, that's how I think.
Than a horror movie. Yeah.
It's a straight up drama. You could just leave it at that.
Well,
it's more than that, but
that gets to some of my reservations about it. But we'll get there.
All right. Well, but then you get to Hannibal.
Don't know.
And this is just
I don't know what it was supposed to be. I don't know what it is.
A hybrid of different movies, but really, at the end, it's filmed like it's just a fucking late 80s action movie.
Yes. Well, at the beginning, too, I would argue. The fish market shootout.
No, I mean, the whole movie is
shot yeah.
like
but
that.
Especially the opening.
Oh, yeah. I have a note, I think, that says, this is the most settiest sets of sets.
Well, it's also 3 movies.
Yeah.
3 distinct stories.
And then you have Hannibal Rising, which presents itself almost like a biography.
Yeah.
You know?
It's a war memoir.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it does have that feel of, come check out our war movie.
Yeah.
And it's, even though that's front-loaded at the beginning, it makes it feel like it's encompassing the whole film. Because he's at war the whole time.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, it's and I can't believe I'm comparing it to this masterpiece, but, the best years of our lives, how do people readjust to society after war?
Yeah. That's the story. Not well, it turns out.
No, and, or very well, I think the film's argument is that, he's the product of his upbringing.
The film seems to have the idea of all justified.
Well, yes. I mean, I never thought of the Hannibal Lecter we see in Silence of the Lambs or Hannibal as kind of Charles Bronson 5 death wishes in. But that's what Hannibal Rising is telling me.
But that's what he is.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no... Yeah, it doesn't get to the root of why Hannibal has an aesthetic appreciation of the cannibal lifestyle.
Yeah, right.
Which is why the TV series Hannibal is so successful, because that's what it front loads it with. It sort of says this is a lifestyle, right? He's doing this all out in the open. Everyone wants to come to his dinner parties.
Right,
everyone thinks he's the perfect host. Everyone thinks he's the best. He's making the best food they've ever tasted.
Mm-hmm. He's so cultured.
Yeah. I was I was so pissed off when I watched Hannibal Rising and I realized that the timeline actually kind of works, because I wanted to use that as a weapon against this film.
Against it, right?
And I was just like, it can't possibly have been born in. How old is Anthony Hopkins? Oh, I guess that checks out. Yeah. Okay.
God damn it.
But then he would have had to have gone in medical. Oh, he did go medical school just about the right time. Okay.
Yeah.
But, I mean, well, we'll get there.
Although that movie seems to suppose that going to medical school is a one-person endeavor in which you just sit in a basement and cut up bodies. And that's all that it is.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, they're ranked. Good, bad.
They're all bad?
No, good, bad.
Oh, they're not all bad.
They're not all bad.
We're going in. Should we go in order?
Sure.
Well, that's also our ranking, so it doesn't matter. For once, it doesn't matter what order we go in. I'm assuming you're going to say Silence of the Lambs is a good movie.
Yeah, it's very good.
There's more than enough in the movie to call it good.
Mm-hmm.
What holds me back from saying it's a great movie or as great a movie as people say it is? Again, I have issues with one of the central performances, which I think we need to say more about at this point. I think we've covered where those issues might lie.
Yes.
Both that it might not be appropriate for the film he's in.
On this viewing, it became closer to a great movie for me for one reason in particular. But I'll save that.
Okay. So it might not be an appropriate performance for the movies he's in, and also other actors have shown ways that you could play this character that I think works better. And I don't know. I think that's a fairly justifiable position, right? Like that. I can give two separate kind of factual reasons why I have some reservations. The other one that no one seems to be bothered about, but something that always comes back whenever I watch this movie is that it's so clear to me that the intentions of the filmmakers are to make a horror movie for people who don't like horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I Michael Jordan take that personally. I feel like Larry David when they moved Seinfeld to Thursday to kind of catch some of the Cheers audience unaware.
Cheers,
he said,
right.
They don't want to watch us on Wednesday. I don't want them watching on Thursday. And I kind of, as a fan of horror, I kind of feel like, well, fuck you. If you're not interested in watching a horror movie, fuck you.
Then don't.
Then don't. Yeah. Go and watch, all the bullshit coffee table movies that are made just for you.
I guess I think of it in
fucking
terms of
driving Miss Daisy yourself into oblivion and get out of my genre. But
I think I wonder if that was the intention or if the intention was just to class it up a little bit.
But I think it's the
level and literally make a picture that would win picture and director and actor and actress and all the things that it won.
And by the way, I'm not averse to high-end refined horror. I mean that's existed for
because I think that's
decades.
What they were going for. Maybe more than
I feel like there is a move towards in the classing up. I think there's an attempt to disguise the schlockier elements of what are doing that is almost offensive to people who actually want their horror films to celebrate that lineage. And I think it's selective about what it thinks horror is in a way that's going to appeal to people who are skeptical or derisive about horror. And again, I admit that it's a very fine line, and you could instantly throw back at me, well, why'd you like The Omen? Why'd you like The Exorcist? Why'd you like... Well, Psycho at the time was considered utter trash. Certainly now it's not.
Yeah.
But those were clearly, Amityville Horror. Those were obviously kind of aspiring to be quality filmmaking that is also horror. So
Yeah.
what's the difference here? And I mean, I think it is something about it being done at a point when the cultural reputation of horror is at such a low.
It's at a low. That's true.
And then trying to sort of, and also I think, you know, I don't have this problem with Misery, which you think I would, because Misery came even before this, and set the agenda. Because I think that is more celebratory of the aspects of horror movies that as fans we enjoy, whereas this is sort of saying, oh, don't you dare enjoy this. Don't you...
Oh, I don't know if it's saying that.
Don't you... Let's pretend this isn't just exploitation. Sometimes.
Mm.
And again, not averse to... And, you know, the counter-argument to what I'm saying is, well... Isn't Anthony Hopkins enjoying the horror movie stuff? And it's like,
so I was just gonna say,
he is.
But your problem is that it doesn't match the rest of the film,
right? Yeah.
But if
he's clearly watched, you know,
if you remove that aspect, shouldn't you love that performance a little bit more?
If we remove that aspect, well, yeah. I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard to say.
Because he's not in, you can't remove it.
You can't. Well, I mean, technology is close to, you know, giving. I guess you could. Probably AI could put Brian Cox or Mads Mikkelsen in there, right? These days,
maybe.
Let's see what that looks like. But yeah, it's hard to say, and also, I mean, it's also the film becomes very gothic in those scenes, right? I mean, if you he's in a literal dungeon. Yeah. So the movie kind of accommodates it in those scenes, but you still have that counterpoint of, you know, an actor who's doing a wholly grounded performance, and another actor who is literally trying not to move a muscle because it's more monstrous that way.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to do exactly what humans don't do. In this scene.
There was one thing I noticed. I'll save it. So much to get to in this series. After you save everything.
Yeah.
I won't forget.
Anyway, those are my two big big reservations, and pretty much everything else is exactly as it should be with the film.
I think I agree with you. I don't think it doesn't bother me quite as much in the way that it bothers you.
Oh, or anyone.
Yeah, true. There were a few things I discovered on this watching that lessened that annoyance for me. And I mentioned one already, and that's Jodie Foster. The manner in which she is responding to all that. Like, it's so honest. Like,
Completely.
She's just accepting that this craziness that's happening in front of her is happening the way it's happening, and she doesn't change at all, and she just anchors
she gets
the
more
whole
real.
Movie in a way.
She's more real in those scenes than she is.
Yeah, exactly. It was really impressive this watching her counteract all that Anthony Hopkins is doing.
It's kind of, I think, you know, this is kind of the era of the yuppie nightmare movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the horror that's the horror that yuppies deserve. Because it speaks directly to them, whereas movies about serial killers on the lam, that's art. That's for us. That's for the people in the cheap seats. So it should feel cheap.
Right.
Or parts of it should feel cheap.
Well, we'll get to the next movie. It'll feel cheap enough.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because I think the schlockiest part of Hannibal is my favorite part of Hannibal.
Okay.
When it goes full Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's literally an allusion to... Actually, there's an allusion to Texas Chainsaw Massacre here. But it's that kind of... There's a kind of a cherry picking of, you know... If there's a cameo, it's got to be a horror auteur. It's like...
Yeah, right.
You know... And then you got I mean, there's nothing. I mean, there's nothing more yuppie than having Chris Isaac as one of the composer of Wicked Game as one of your SWAT agents.
What are your SWAT? I think my note as I was watching it was just my note in my head every time I watched the movie. Chris Isaac for some reason.
I mean, slap Dick Miller in there if you're gonna do that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Dick Miller is an inept SWAT agent. Okay, we're gonna take this. What are we gonna do? Okay, we're gonna bust down the door and we're gonna go like Gremlins!
I was just gonna say. I hear you have a gremlin. No, Hannibal Lecter, the serial killer, is on the loose. With a gremlin? No, not with a gremlin. We think he is somewhere in the building. Yeah. He's not in his cage.
That would have been amazing.
Summoning gremlins? No, there are no gremlins.
Yeah.
But
all right. You know, but then you're absolutely right that my reservations they are complicated by some of the contradictions of the film.
Mm-hmm.
Between something that is very identifiably, I'm not even a horror movie, a monster movie, I'd say. You know, it's my old teacher Victor Perkins used to say about fictional worlds in films, don't go and see King Kong if you can't buy into the idea of a giant gorilla, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's you know, this movie's kind of telling me to sort of buy into the giant gorilla.
But
everything around the giant gorilla, is kind of not.
Is your self-storage in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, nobody in outside of the gorilla in the movie believes in the giant gorilla.
Yeah, that's the thing that I find kind of remarkable about the movie is the supernatural aspect given to Hannibal Lecter, where he's just sort of this monster/ghost that can, you know, ethereally appear and disappear, do whatever he wants.
And you know, they do
but Demi gives him that in a way, directorially, that I find very interesting.
Yeah.
So I find that aspect of it compelling.
Yeah, and you know, there's always the plausible deniability of, you know, there's a Sherlock Holmes layer of everything Gothic is scientifically explainable.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and they take great care to show that, you know, he's not doing anything that, when slasher, he's not doing the kind of semi-supernatural slasher killer. He's just, his brain is working on a higher level than everyone else, and he can figure his way out of any situation. I mean, it's the locked room mystery.
Yeah, right.
The way he escapes from the cage is like the resolution of a Arthur Conan Doyle locked room mystery, and he deals with anagrams and codes as well, which is a very Sherlock Holmes trait.
Sure.
So there's that, and I assume that's literary and comes from Thomas Harris to make him this kind of, I mean, a detective. Really, he's another detective in this story, and that's he's kind of a. And he's the consulting detective, so he's even more like even more like Sherlock Holmes. Basically, this guy, I'm on record as probably going to the defense of slasher killers more than is usual.
Sure,
but I mean, there's a big argument that Hannibal Lecter is the hero of these films.
Well, certainly the last two. I think this movie, that was not this movie's intention, Silence of the Lambs. Culturally, that's what he became, though. And so retroactively, he is now the hero of the film.
And that takes me back to the original point about where I first discovered Silence of the Lambs. Because I was too young to see it in the theater, really.
Yeah.
At age... How does time work? Let's see. 9...
Okay.
Shouldn't be taking a 9-year-old to see Silence of the Lambs, right?
You probably would.
With my own son? You're going to hold this Temple of Doom thing against me. It was on, and it was on television. Past the Watershed. On television. It's a 1 a.m. showing. He's already up.
I had him up for some reason.
Well, that's it, because he couldn't get to sleep because of all the gin he'd been drinking. But anyway, it was there's a British comedy TV double act called French and Saunders, Dawn French and Jennifer Saunders, and in the early 90s they did a sketch show that was movie pastiche based, and they would reenact shot for shot the popular movies of the time and kind of insert themselves into the worlds of those movies. If you look, I mean, I looked at some of it on YouTube last night. It's so the reenactment is so sophisticated. They do shot, the camera placement, the production values, everything is just kind of spot on. And the difference in their version is that they're still playing themselves as comedians. And so, the BBC want them to come back and do another series, and so it's all about Jennifer Saunders as Clarice Starling coming to the prison to get Dawn French as Hannibal Lecter to do another series of the show. So all the references are kind of entertainment based, and you have all these classic, instead of like the multiple MIGs and all the various psychopaths, you have old school British music hall entertainers in prison, and the actual people playing them. But that was that. So, but it was that was looked it up. That was 1993, and it just shows how quickly the imagery from Silence of the Lambs became iconic,
ubiquitous. It's just everywhere.
And I think it's safe to say that there's all scenes in prisons, in movies, bear some of the imprint of Silence of the Lambs now. I mean, even before No Time to Die came out, when they made the choice to put, spoilers, Blofeld in prison at the end of Spectre, I was like, well, we're going to have a Silence of the Lambs type scene in the next movie.
Yeah, right.
And that was exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And so that imagery and that language is just going around our heads as audiences all the time.
Do you remember a movie called Just Cause?
Just Cause!
Fishburne?
Just Cause!
Yeah. I was like, this is the most Silence of the Silency Lambs that Ed Harris could ever put on screen. I was surprised that he said yes.
But that's it. It's like you've got to, and they say it's about comedy. I guess it's also true about movies, is that when something is successful, what you want to do is make something that imitates that, because the commercial logic of executives is that works, so
let's do something that works.
But the next thing that's going to be popular will almost certainly be entirely the opposite.
Right.
And I guess the film falls into the same trap. We get years of clones, but interestingly, we have to wait nearly 10 years for a sequel.
That's another outlier for the series, is that, I guess mostly because of Thomas Harris, we kept waiting on the books. But you have a 10-year gap.
The George R. Martin problem, isn't it?
And a 6-year gap, which is not the normal sequel length of time.
No. Yeah.
All right. Come on.
Yeah, it's Hannibal.
Let's we got other things to do. So just tell me, is Hannibal a good movie?
I'm avoiding the question, clearly.
Or not?
It's the only hard question to answer.
I agree.
As it's the only thing that I went back and forth over, but given that...
But I have my answer.
I have my answer too, and I don't think it is a good movie.
I don't think it is either. I kind of wanted one of us to say, yes, it was. And I thought that I would be more prone to say yes to it.
Than me?
Yeah.
I think you underestimate how much I want to see Ray Liotta's brain slowly failing. The discovery I made after rewatching Hannibal was that I think he's number one on my list of actors I want to see brain slowly decaying in real time. There's only a certain kind of actor who can do that, I think. because
Sure.
he's spouting nonsense with such conviction.
Yes, right.
And I'm trying to think of, like, it's him or maybe Nicolas Cage. There's only a couple of actors who'd be able to pull off that literally cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, that's not enough to make it a good movie.
No, it's not. You know, I guess there's so much talent involved in this movie.
Yes.
Failing.
Yes.
And it is...
That's a really good way of putting it.
But it's a delight to watch all of that failure somehow.
Well,
like I really kind of revel and enjoy it.
It's one of those movies where how bad it is annoys you up to a point, and then you get and then you get used to it and you start to enjoy it, and then the movie ends.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's funny because I'm pretty sure up until this point I'd never seen Hannibal end to end.
Oh, wow.
I'd seen it I caught some of it here, some of it there on like TV viewings. And I realized I was like, oh, I've seen the whole movie, just not in order.
In one sitting.
Or in one sitting or in order, right? All the way through. And I was just like, well, you know, I'm sure when I see the whole movie, it won't seem as patchy as when I watched it in fragments
it'll
on
all
TV.
come together.
Nope, just as patchy.
Yeah.
Did not improve one jot in coherence.
Yes. Exactly.
It was like, weirdly, even though I wasn't trying to, I was justified in breaking this movie up into segments because it exists in segments.
Well, I also had this odd thought, because isn't Gladiator the same year? No, I mean the year before, rather. 2000, 2001, right?
Yes.
And this feels like the Gladiator version of a Hannibal story.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that.
I don't like Gladiator as much as most people like Gladiator, but it's a better film than this.
I guarantee I like it even less than you. I enjoy it less than this.
That's the thing that I started wondering.
Yeah.
I kept thinking to myself, do I...
There's nothing to look forward to in Gladiator like seeing Ray Liotta's brain being eaten. And I'm talking about the actor Ray Liotta, not the character he's playing.
Yeah, right. All right, I think we're both going to say Hannibal Rising.
Well,
not so good.
Not so good. I mean, leaving overall quality aside, I think the movie had, by its own design, had two projects, or two goals. One was get him to America.
Sure.
The other is make him a psychiatrist by the time the movie's done.
Yeah, right.
The movie does neither. It's kind of it's like you know that porn.
He's a doctor and he's in Canada.
Yes, it's like that porn stars PAWN stars show.
Yeah,
that's kind of turned into a meme whenever something terrible happens. We get the guy from Pawn Stars. It's the most recent one being, I want universal health care. Best I can do is invade Venezuela. Or years ago it was release Britney from her conservatorship. Best I can do is free Bill Cosby from jail. Right. And that's what I feel like. I feel at the end of this movie, I'm like, best I can do is he's a doctor in Canada. But you even think that's what I mean about the low bar of IP cinema, right?
Yeah, because it's he's on the road. Like, it's literally the last shot is a car going down the road. He's on the road towards America and becoming a psychiatrist.
But he's not talked about getting involved in psychiatry.
Nope.
He doesn't want to go to America. There's a whole issue with why does he keep his own name when he's a wanted criminal in Europe?
I'll say.
But you think about Man of Steel, Batman Begins, Casino Royale, whatever you think of those movies, they make sure that the final scene is is, you end up with a starting point for for the character that we know, whether James Bond says the line for the first time.
Sure.
Clark Kent gets the job at the Daily Planet and Man of Steel. Batman Begins, he's facing off with the Joker for the first time. Right? They all do that work.
Yeah.
And it's so basic for this kind of movie, right? It's like not even a nut like what's his name? Directed Man of Steel? Forgotten his name. Zack something?
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder. Like even he would know not to miss that.
Not to fuck that up.
Not to fuck that up out of the movie. And yet it's as if it's never occurred to them that's where
you have to end.
In order for this movie to justify its own existence.
Yeah.
That's the least we can expect. And to make a whole movie it's not a short movie either, is it, right? I mean, it's like...
No, it's a full 2 hours.
It's a full 2 hours. 2 hours and you can't even get to that? But you get him as close as Canada going through medical school.
Yeah.
It's never going to be...
They were more interested in the medical school because that's how he knows how to cut up bodies and get all the tasty goods.
Yeah, there's an incredible scene where he learns how well human cheeks pair with mushrooms.
Yeah,
just coincidentally, kind of the serendipity of that. I mean, it's never going to be
and I don't know that in cooking, fish cheeks are known as
beef cheeks. Beef cheeks are
tender,
highly prized.
Yeah,
by gourmet chefs. Yeah, in the whole sort of nose to tail revolution. Yeah. All the bits of the meat, all the bits of the animal we didn't used to eat, and now the best bits of the animal. I knew about beef
cheeks, I knew about fish cheeks, but does that apply to all animals?
But it applies to pigs and cows for sure. Mm-hmm. I don't know if chicken cheeks are fried.
Yeah, I was like, ostrich beaks? Is that what people really, really want?
See, what I want the origin story of Hannibal Lecter to be, unfortunately that it never will be, is a thinly veiled Frasier.
Right, yeah.
I want him to have a Niles-like brother who disapproves of his foray into serial killing.
Yeah.
Feels like he's let down the psychiatry industry.
Yeah.
It's never going to be that. That's exactly what it should be.
A psychiatrist is going to cooking school at night.
Yeah. And that's kind of what Hannibal the TV series is at times.
Yeah.
But it ain't going to be that. But I don't want to see a second-rate war film that looks like it's made by fans.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Movie. Not good.
Yeah, that's the other thing that hurts is that as I was watching it, I was like, oh, you could do this well.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie never once hit any of the notes that would allow it to do the story well. I was like, actually, this is fertile territory. I do want to know about what brought him to this point. I just don't want it to be all new information. I mean, you don't even know that he's Lithuanian. That never comes up. In the TV series it does, but it never comes up in...
Yeah, you're right. In the movies it doesn't.
That's a big deal. Born in Lithuania.
Mm-hmm.
Not second generation. And yet he has a southern accent. So go figure.
Well,
although does he have a southern accent?
No, he doesn't. But he's making fun of Clarice a lot, so he's employing.
I think you're giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's using that southern accent in scenes that Clarice is not in.
I think what you're mistaking, because I think I remember all the way back from 1991 interviews. he was going for a quality of voice
Mm.
that intonated that he wasn't using his voice. So there was like a metallic kind of raspiness within it because he wouldn't talk much in his cell down there. I think maybe you're hooking into that. In which case you might be right, where it just presents itself as Southern, but...
Have you rewatched Red Dragon yet?
No.
He's full-on Foghorn Leghorn in that movie. So, none of this argument holds with me.
Okay, fine.
He went back to the Southern template. Just so he could put himself back into the beginning of fucking Silence of the Lambs.
That's funny.
Yeah, I think he's experimenting with a Southern accent, not just making fun of Clarice. That I think Hannibal the movie allows him to back away from a little bit, because he gets to go to Europe and it turns out he's European.
He is indeed.
Which again, we take all those fucking files that the FBI have. There's no mention of. Also, that he was
by birth.
Yes. Hey,
you want one line? Lithuanian by birth, killed a bunch of people, and then escaped to Canada.
Can you imagine, like being the young FBI agent who discovers that this Hannibal Lecter is also the wanted, uncaptured Hannibal Lecter from the 1950s.
Guilty of war crimes?
Hey, there's this Lithuanian serial killer called
Hannibal Lecter.
This could... And I checked, the timeline does add up, despite the fact that I don't want it to. It does add up.
All right, anything else?
Oh, no, I don't.
We've got plenty out there, and then it's just time to tackle these one by one.
Yes, indeed. That's the only way to do them.
Wrestle them to the ground.
The only way to do them is to treat them separately. Separate and not equal.
And not equal. I was going to say.
I was going to say that's a t-shirt, but actually I don't want to wear that t-shirt.
You don't want
that
t-shirt.
I don't want to align myself with that. There are plenty of people who feel that way genuinely, and I do not want to align myself.
White guy walking down the street, separate, not equal.
Yeah, and for
you're asking for trouble.
For the listeners' benefit, obviously Mike knows this, but my Christmas present from Mike was a T-shirt that said "Night Vampire." With a little droplet of blood on it. And if you think I have a hard time...
Very happy to give you that.
I think I have a hard time explaining that. Imagine separate but not equal. No. You're taking it out of context.
I bought myself one, too. I was wearing it last week.
Oh, fantastic.
I was hoping for a question. I didn't get one question about what the fuck does that mean.
They think it's like a legitimate. Well, that's it. That's our cue to write the Night Vampire series, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's specifically known as a vampire that comes out at night. He's not even one of those like Gary Oldman in Dracula who can sort of be around during the day, but is kind of like low powered.
Or the Buffy vampires who can cruise around, but they just have to put their jackets over their heads.
Oh, really? Is that what they do?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I remember Spike doing that at least a few times.
Yeah. I mean...
Why do I remember that name? Spike.
We had Spiky hair, didn't he?
Spike the vampire. Yeah, he had a very...
Looked like Billy Idol, I seem to remember.
I was going to say Billy Idol or Kiefer Sutherland from Lost Boys.
Who was arrested recently.
He was?
Yeah. Hopefully it'll all be resolved by the time this comes out.
Timothy Busfield got arrested.
I was literally the other day I woke up and my first thought was, wow, Timothy Busfield is still on the loose. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say in my own head.
All right. That was tangent enough.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to have to tell us what you think about what we're calling the Hannibal series. What's at the top of your list? Which of these movies is good? Which of them are bad? Do you agree or disagree with us?
I want to hear from some Hannibal apologists, because I think we're open to that, right? We're sympathetic to that point of view.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
And anyone who has anything good to say about Hannibal Rising.
If you do, please, by all means.
You are a treasured commodity. If you
What's that they do on How Did This Get Made? The other reviews, the Amazon reviews.
Oh, maybe at the risk of copyright,
5 stars.
At the risk of dance around the copyright, I should do that for Hannibal Rising, because I genuinely have never heard a good word about the film at all from anyone, and that's rare that no one is willing to go to the mat for. I mean, even Terminator Salvation, I think there are some people who.
Well, there's lots of people that really like that.
Yeah, right. That's my understanding, but you will not get anyone who.
Oddly.
Okay. Well, I'll see. I'll do some research.
In order to do it, if you want to directly tell us, find us on Facebook, find us on Instagram, find us on X, Threads, Blue Sky, and, all the other things. What are the other things?
Did I miss one? X? Did you say X?
I think I said X.
I think I said X. Blue Sky, Threads, Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, I think you covered them all. Whew. We're not anywhere else. We're not on TikTok.
No,
we're not on LinkedIn.
You know what's really upsetting?
We should actually
everything
we
sequel
should be on
LinkedIn page.
What are we fucking doing?
It would say you've had 0 searches for.
No. Well, yeah. No, we should be on LinkedIn. Then people might fucking employ us. The only employment-related one, and we're not on it. What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing, but whatever we're doing,
all wrong.
Doing it all wrong and ass backwards.
Don't ass backwards. Let's start with the platforms that only children use, because you know how much children love delving into the world of
Hannibal Rising for 2.5 hours.
The single sequels of 1993. They love nothing more.
Yes, their attention span is great. They can sit and listen to the single sequels of 1993.
2.5 hour podcast on fucking Queensville.
3 Men and a Little Lady. Or send an email to everythingsequel@gmail.com. That's it. All right. When you hear us next, we'll be talking about the Academy Award-winning picture, The Silence of the Lambs from 1991. For Tom Stewart of Lonesome Whistle Productions, Michael Shantz here. I'm from the How Dare You Awards. We will be back. Say goodbye to everybody, Tom.
I know your asshole will look just like a violet.
I do not remember that line. What the fuck?
That's Rhys Ifans in Hannibal Rising. And I also did not remember the context of that line. And I did a brief Google search. And the only result I found was a film reviewer going, "What the fuck does this mean? Why did he say this?" I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna be just like this infinite loop of people asking the same question with no answers." He says it to Lady Kurosawa. That's not her name, but
no.
Murakami or something.
In my notes, she's just smoke show.
Yes, really, really beautiful. Yeah, I hope that's not a Rhys Ifans improvisation.
Oh, God.
He might be the next person to be arrested if that's the case.
Yeah. Look, I'm all for stretching as an actor, but let's take this really hilarious person and put him in this odd duck of a role.
Well, wait a minute, wasn't his character called Spike in Notting Hill?
Yeah, I think so.
Whoa.
That does seem right.
Eerie. Well, maybe he'll be the next blonde aging actor to
The Hannibal universe includes multitudes, my friend.
It really does. Did you know that the Everything Sequel podcast has a sequel? It's our Patreon, and for a low monthly donation, you can get up to 2 exclusive, full-length, ad-free bonus episodes. $5 a month gets you an episode discussing all the original movies from the series we've covered on the podcast. And that's a lot of snakeheads. But $10 a month scores you the reboot to boot. Support Everything Sequel on Patreon and reap the benefits of amazing brand new content you quite literally can't get anywhere else. Got more money than sense? We also offer one-time payments that will get you in the driver's seat of the podcast. Maybe even the passenger seat. That metaphor doesn't work, but our show does. So join the Patreon and believe the hype. It's a sequel.